It's tax season! That means it's time for you to secure 1,095 euros with just a couple of clicks. Might sound like it's too good to be true, but it is true. All you need to do is to file your tax declaration, which means you need to intelligently calculate yourself poor, so you get the taxes back that you paid to Finanzamt already. And how do you do that? I'll show you exactly how, step by step, in this Perfinex tax video. The first question to ask yourself is, who files your tax return? If you want to file it yourself, which would be a little more work, but it's certainly the cheapest option, you can use one of the 3 private tax software providers that we did videos on already. We'll link them in the description in case you want to check them out in detail, or you use the government software Elster. Elster is completely for free, but not that easy to use. The other 3 softwares cost around 30 euros, and you can get a 5 euro discount with our codes that you find in the respective video. Or, if you don't want to file your taxes yourself, you can use the Lohnsteuerhilfeverein or a professional tax advisor. It can be tough to find a spot for any of those 2, especially with somebody that speaks English to you, and that's why we created Perfi Tax, to help everyone that doesn't want to file taxes themselves. Like myself. I am very sure that my tax advisor can get me more taxes back than I could filing taxes on my own. It costs a little more, but I get a lot more taxes back. And I have as little work as possible, so it's worth it to me. No matter if you decide to file your taxes yourself or use help, this is what you need to declare, or a professional will declare for you. First, you need to provide all kinds of information to Finanzamt. The official name for this document is the Hauptvordruck. Here you give your name, address, tax ID, so Finanzamt knows who you are, and if you're married or not, because married couples can deduct twice as much because they're 2 people. The document asks for it, you provide it. So far, so easy. And now comes the fun part. All kinds of attachments, Anlagen in German, depending on what you want to declare. The most important attachment for most of you watching will be Anlage N, income from employment. The basis for this Anlage and many others is the Ausdruck der elektronischen Lohnsteuerbescheinigung, which looks something like this. All of you should have it received already for last year, and if not, ask your HR or payroll department for it. The strategy here is pretty straightforward. First, you list all your income or incomes, which you're generally taxed on, and then you calculate yourself poor with certain costs, so you pay less taxes. The typical costs here are Werbungskosten, all kinds of expenses you had in order to do your job, commuting to work or working from home office, applying for a new job, doing certain courses that will help you make more money in the future. All kinds of costs related to your employment job. Be meticulous here and list a lot of expenses. You might even want to be brave, but please don't be ridiculous. Trying to deduct private clothing because you don't want to go to work naked, or glasses because you can't do your job if you don't see anything. This is not gonna work. There will be a clerk sitting at Finanzamt evaluating if your tax declaration makes sense or not. And if you try to f them with funky expenses, they will f you back. Aside from employment income, you may have other types of income. Germany knows 7 different types of income, and we'll go through the most important ones in a moment. Specifically for you expats though, there may be a really important attachment. Let me introduce you to Anlage aus, all kinds of foreign income. I talked about this with Dirk, the tax advisor, in one of our latest videos, that a couple is facing a 60,000 euro penalty now because they didn't declare their income from India and Finanzamt caught them. So please, for your own good, declare all income that you make worldwide. If you have a business or do crypto trading, anything, committing tax fraud is a crime that is punishable by up to 10 years in prison. Definitely not worth the risk, if you ask me. The most common attachment for other types of income are Anlage V if you have a rental property. The idea here is the same as for Anlage N we had earlier. Yes, you did make rental income and generally you have to pay taxes on that, but you also had costs in generating that rental income. You paid interest to the bank, renovated your property, property manager, depreciation, list all kinds of expenses. And if you do it right, your expenses will be higher than your rental income, and therefore you increase your tax return. And that's why we are big fans of buying rental properties and no fans of buying a home for yourself, because a home will get you almost no tax benefits. You'll see later on. And if you wonder what the best option is for you, then let's talk in a free meeting that you can book right here. And the second and last type of income I want to discuss with you today, before we calculate ourselves poor to save taxes, is capital gains, Anlage, CAP. Every investment profit you make above the tax-free threshold of 1,000 euros a year is taxed with 25% capital gains tax. Sounds high, but it's a lot better than up to 42% taxes you pay on employment income. That's the first benefit. And if you use a German broker, you will enjoy the second benefit, that all your capital gains taxes are paid to Finanzamt already, and there's nothing you can do wrong. Just copy the numbers from the Jahressteuerbescheinigung of your German broker, and that's it. So if you want to save yourself a little bit of work, use a German broker. And if you wonder which broker the best is, here's a video that will help you out. So far, we listed all our income, but please keep in mind that there's a lot more Anlagen in case that you have any other income aside from what we have here on the screen. A tax declaration is highly individual. Everyone is different. So now it's time to list our expenses, increase our tax return to get 1,095 euro from Finanzamt, or maybe even more. We just talked about capital gains from ETFs and all. If you put your ETFs in a broker, you pay 25% capital gains taxes. If you put your ETFs in certain types of pensions, you can deduct more than 55,000 euros from your taxes. We compared ETFs and brokers, Anlage CAP, with ETFs and pensions, Anlage Vorsorgeaufwand, in a video 2 weeks ago to help you find the best investment option for you. And in true Perfect style, we answer the question with, it depends. The second type of tax-deductible costs are any type of special expenses, Sonderausgaben in German. As for the Werbungskosten, where there's a 1,230 euro flat deduction you can claim without any proof, there's also a flat deduction for Sonderausgaben, but it is 36 euros only. We can do much more than that. List all your insurances here: health insurance, public or private, liability insurance, disability insurance, all kinds of insurances you have, donations that you made, if you have a Riester pension level 2, renovation costs for your home, but only up to 6,000 euros. Another reason why investing in rental properties is more tax efficient than buying a home for yourself, because with rental properties you can deduct all renovation costs. With your home, it's 6,000 euros only. Speaking about your home, haushaltsnahe Aufwendungen are all kinds of household services that you can claim to save taxes. That's basically any task you could do in your household yourself, but you can also hire someone to do it for you. Cleaning your home, or working your garden, cooking or walking your dog. Not cooking your dog or walking your dog, cooking or walking your dog. Very important distinction. Taking care of your kids, doing your laundry, I think you get the point. You can always deduct 20% of the costs you had, and depending on the exact service, there's always a maximum to it. And your last chance to calculate yourself poor and increase your tax return, all kinds of extraordinary expenses, außergewöhnliche Belastungen in German. If you make the German average salary of roughly 50k a year and get sick, so you have to buy drugs in the pharmacy for 20 euros or new glasses for 200 euros. Those are, according to Finanzamt, reasonable burdens compared to your income. But if you have to pay thousands of euros per month because you or a family member is disabled, that would be extraordinary. Again, use some common sense here and do not try to trick Finanzamt with made-up expenses because you want to artificially increase your tax return by just a couple of euros. If they catch you, which they will do eventually, you could be in big trouble. Because if they catch you doing something fishy on one end of your tax declaration, they will check your entire tax declaration into the very last detail, and I don't think anybody of us wants this. We'd all have Finanzamt much rather give us just thumbs up without checking too much in detail or asking too many questions. Please keep in mind that we are no tax advisor, so this video is just for entertainment and education purposes only. If you have any questions, you might want to ask a real tax advisor. Dirk at Perfinex is there to help you out. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.